How is it going, everybody? MLS United here, representing the Verde, but we can't talk about Austin FC right now because we have to talk about the 2020 MLS Playoffs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the 2020 MLS Playoffs are coming to us soon, in about 2 to 3 weeks, but just know it's soon, and we need to do a dive into what I think, which teams are going to make it into the conference finals. And then we'll go on from there at some point. But for now, we're doing the conference finals. Here is what I have, ladies and gentlemen. So, we go, first of all, into the Eastern Conference play-in round. As you can see, I got Nashville SC surpassing Inter Miami CF. Inter Miami CF has had a great season. Starting from the beginning of the season, where everybody's like, oh, you don't have a superstar power, where's that at? And everybody thought that Inter Miami CF were not going to pull anything off this season. Sit below, low, deep in the basement of the Eastern Conference. But you're wrong. Inter Miami CF said, hey yo, we got money. So they got Rodolfo Pizarro, which people thought, okay, that's pretty cool. And then they brought in a World Cup winner, and Blaise Matuidi. He has came in and certified that midfield. And then the gem, Gonzalo Higuain. You got Gonzalo Higuain. He might not be scoring the goals, but as you can tell, the attention that he drives from everybody else, from the other team, the opposition team, allows players like Rodolfo Pizarro, Lewis Morgan, players like these to find space in the field, score goals, make their impact, and that for me is the reason why Inter Miami deserve to be in this playoffs. However, Nashville SC, everybody is the exact opposite of Inter Miami CF. Defense, and more defense. Gary Smith said we're going to defend for our lives. You look at the money that they brought in, the experience they brought into that team, like Joe Willis, their goalkeeper, the money that they spent in allocation and game money for Walker Zimmerman showed that defense means everything to this team. So at the beginning of the season, when they lost to Atlanta United, everybody's like, oh god, they're not going to be good defensively, they're not going to be good offensively, so how are they going to win? Well, they showed us and showed me as well that they can still be good defensively regardless of how the beginning of the season started. In fact, they are one of the best defensive teams in the league since the end of the MLS regular season. So, they showed us that. And then not only did they prove the doubters about their defense, but now they have an offense with Cadiz now coming into this team, showing that little bit of DP magic going for them offensively. And then you got players like Hani Mukhtar. They're showing us now that they could score goals now. For a team that was so defensive and could do it at such a high level, and then now can add to it with their offensive, like their offense, they are a team all around that I think that could go really far in this tournament, in the MLS Cup playoffs. So for me, they beat Inter Miami. New England versus Montreal. Sorry, Montreal, but I have New England surpassing you. I just think New England has too much. Montreal struggled against the DC United team that's heavily injured. Has been terrible all season. Doesn't even have a head coach. So, I'm sorry, Montreal. Don't think you have a chance. But New England, I just think you have enough firepower. So now, let's go into the round 1 of the MLS Cup playoffs. We get a replay. We would get a replay for how I set this up of the Philadelphia Union versus New England. Philadelphia wins. I don't care. I see the Philadelphia Union once again beating New England. This time not to win a Community Shield, but to get further in the 2020 MLS Cup playoffs starting New England. I don't think you can do it 2 times. I don't think you can come back. I think you're going to lose 2 times. Sorry. Here's an interesting one. Orlando City versus NYCFC. I just think Orlando, as a collective, has such a better team than NYCFC. I think Oscar Pereira will lead this team really far in this tournament, which you'll see. He will lead this team. Players like Daryl DK, Benji Michel, players that nobody thought would do good, Chris Mueller, are now stars in this team practically. Tisho Akindele, which nobody thought he would be even good anymore, is still good. And obviously, of course, you put Nani and Pereira. So, for me, sorry NYCFC, you have the power, the star power, you have a good team. I just think all around, top to bottom, Orlando just has the better team, so you lose. Columbus versus Red Bulls, I am putting Columbus through, most definitely. Sorry, Red Bulls. Your team struggles. I know you just had a good game against TFC, but Columbus, with their best players starting, I just don't see them losing. If Darlington Nagbe doesn't start, Zé Ryan, Artur, Pedro Santos, Jossie Zardes, which is very unlikely, but who knows? So yeah, for me, Columbus, sorry New York Red Bulls, you did good to get into the playoffs, but I don't see you getting more further. Now this one, we're starting off with a bang here. TFC versus Nashville. I have Nashville passing TFC. TFC has not impressed me this season, besides Ayo Akinola. You look at this team defensively with Omar Gonzalez, Simon, and Mavinga, they have not been good enough this season. Their fullbacks have been leaving their center back stranded, along with the fact that their center backs think they're in Disney World and they don't know what's going around them, as indicated by the Red Bulls game just on decision day. So for me, a team like Nashville, like we said, that's getting way better offensively, and a team that's already so good defensively, Toronto can't do it defensively, and offensively they look like they've been on and off. So I just think Nashville is the overall better team and is going to make the upset against TFC. We go into the Western Conference. Sporting Kansas City, San Jose. I have Sporting Kansas City advancing past the Earthquakes. Earthquakes have done so well. Don't know honestly how they made it to playoffs, but they did. After being 8-7-0 by Seattle Sounders. But they have made it, but I don't think they get any more further. Sporting Kansas City advances past them. This one hurts my heart. Minnesota United, the Loons, versus the Colorado Rapids. You guys are going to say fraud, but I have the Rapids going past Minnesota, and my reason why is Minnesota has been having a lot of injuries lately. And you look at their backline, between the fact that St. Clair's their goalie, Coleman is now getting starts. DeBossi has now moved to left back because of Jay Strasburg not being on the team sheet and starting 11. So, I just think there are so many players out of position in Minnesota right now. And for how the resurgence of the Rapids has been these last couple of games, I think they'll find a way. They will have the confidence now to pass the Loons. Sorry, I love you both. This hurts my heart. I had to choose between you two, to be honest, but I'm picking the Rapids. Portland versus Dallas. I'm going Portland. Portland has the experience in the playoffs. They have such a good team this season. Dallas, congratulations, you made it to the playoffs, but I'm going to have to hand you an L. Seattle versus LAFC. This one is interesting, but I put LAFC ahead of the Seattle Sounders. That could be a scary prediction, because who can really predict this game? But I'm picking LAFC. Carlos Vela's back. Diego Rossi's boot winner, still firing. You got the boy, Bradley Eichel, still scoring. We can all say the back line still looks scary, but I just think with Carlos Vela back, this front line will go off, and Seattle will sadly not make it even past round 1 of the playoffs this season. I'm sorry, Seattle fans. I'm sorry. We go back to the East. Arguably, probably would be my favorite game in the playoffs, and that is Philly-Orlando. I have Orlando passing the Philadelphia Union. Like I said, I look top to bottom. Both teams obviously have not had playoff experience, but I put Oscar Verhea's experience in the playoffs. And you look at Lourdes Nani and Pereira, players that play at the highest level. You look at Philly, most of their DPs, their high-level players have not played in a high-level game in their entire career. So, I just put Orlando over them because of that. Columbus, Nashville, I got Columbus advancing. Like I said, Nagbe, Pedro Santos, Jossie Zardes, Zé Ryan, those players, as long as they're healthy, Columbus crew will make it all the way. No, even though, like I could say, I reap it all the time. Nashville's amazing defense, but I just think Columbus Crew systematically is such a better team, and they will just break this Nashville team one by one, breaking it down during the game, and they will at some point score, and I just don't think Nashville will overcome them. So I got Columbus. Now, we would have Sporting Kansas City and the Colorado Rapids. Call me I'm a fan of the Rapids. You can say whatever you want, but I'm putting the Rapids over Sporting Kansas City only because of this reason. I think Sporting Kansas City are posers. Take off that mask. I think you're all posers. I don't believe that this team really has what it takes to make it all the way to MLS Cup. I say they can still get past San Jose, but I think you're posers. I think there's an imposter in the lobby, and you all, Sporting Kansas City, are the imposters. I don't believe you, but you can prove me wrong. So I put the Rapids over Sporting Kansas City. Now we go back to the other side. LAFC, Portland Timbers. I got LAFC once again. Carlitos is finally back into the team. This offense is firing. Nobody wants to go against LAFC in the playoffs, let alone the regular season, with Carlos Vela, Diego Rossi. Now you put Bradley Wright Phillips. Atuesta is back. LAFC surpasses Portland, regardless of Portland's amazing season and the team that they have as well. But I'm putting LAFC ahead. Sticking with the Western Conference then. We're not going into who's going to win MLS Cup, so this is just how it's going to be. The Colorado Rapids versus LAFC in the conference final in the Western Conference. Say what you want, it might be biased, but I believe in my Burgundy boys. There's belief, they are gaining momentum. You look around this team, everybody is doing their part beautifully. Bassett has been amazing for this team. Finds two homegrowns that have just been so good and have been growing so much this season. I just see that they rise up to the occasion and take this playoff by the scruff of the neck. LAFC, star power will make them get there. The Eastern Conference Finals. Orlando, Columbus. This would be an interesting game. Can Oscar Borja lead an Orlando team, let's be honest, that's been garbage for such a long time, get them past maybe the conference finals in the MLS Cup against either LAFC or the Colorado Rapids. But Columbus will have something to say about that. They will. They most definitely will. Like we said, we can go through all the names. Once again, that team is stacked. They have the bench. They have the reserves. Players that you wouldn't think would contribute to the team are contributing, as well as the players you expect to contribute are contributing. This team has it all. But yes, this is it. This is my prediction. I hope all y'all don't get mad at me too much. But yes, this is my prediction. Deal with it. Swag YOLO. MLS United here. I'm not gonna do that. Peace. Love you all.